Yo, what is up, guys? This is Juke from the Box Critters Guild.
And I'm Andy from the Box Critters Bulletin.
And welcome to episode 5 of the Box Critters cast. So, guys, news has been a little bit slow over the past 2 weeks or so there hasn't been much new content that we haven't already talked about in previous podcasts. But we still have some pretty interesting things to talk about, such as a preview of the script for the new quest coming to Box Critters. So we're going to break that down and see if we can figure out some details about the quest coming. We also have some new items that we've seen in the game files of Box Critters and some new outfits that have been teased from Rocket Snail on Twitter.
Is right. And before we do that, guys, we do have a question of the week today, but it's going to be pretty quick. Today is going to be our last question of the week for a little bit of a while. I guess just a hiatus. It will probably be back in the future. Right now, it's just a little,
Sorry.
Yes, very sad. I know. Like Juke said, the news is a little bit slow right now, so we are just going to put it on a little bit of a break. People are still busy with school just finishing up, and like I said, not too much going on, but there's things being worked on that we're going to talk about. But our question this week was, which room were you looking forward to the most with all of these space rooms? And one comment here from Camden from on YouTube, he said, I'm really excited for the engine room. I agree with you in that the crystal core will add lots of lore to the game. However, I'm excited to go outside the spaceship and see what wearing the spacesuits is like. And I know, Juke, you are very excited about the exterior, aren't you?
Yeah, so the exterior part of the ship, like that exterior room, is probably going to be, it's my favorite room for sure. I'm kind of excited to see. Again, it's early on, but later on in the game, it would be cool to see kind of like a zero gravity kind of thing. However that's going to work, maybe you're slower moving to the spot and you might not move exactly where you click, kind of thing. And a whole health bar system if you're not wearing your spacesuit as well. So the exterior is probably the most interesting one for me. Yeah.
That would be cool if there's some sort of different moving type. I am very excited for the engine room like Cam is, but I think, like I said last episode, my favorite is probably still the sick bay that he's looking for or going to be making in the future with like a hospital or some sort. I think this could be a lot of detail there and, a lot of opportunity for just, type of storytelling. Who knows? But very exciting. Lots of rooms.
You'll see Andy sticking around the sick bay for the rest of Box Critters history, and every time you guys go in and visit, you'll get a free propeller cap.
Ooh, I like that.
Instead of a lollipop.
That sounds good to me. Instead of lollipops. Yeah. Yes, I love that.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next one, guys. So we're going to be talking about, as you guys can see, we're going to be talking about this Google sheet that Rocket Snail teased on Twitter. So what do you think about this, Andy?
It is like our first main thing we're finally seeing about the quests, and there's a ton to talk about here. There is like some things that like oh, that looks obvious, like we're gonna go through these each, but you see things like flight training, like oh sure, but then you see things like kitties and you're like, what is going on here? So
yeah,
let's go over this one by one, each line and stuff. Obviously some is a little bit cut off based on how we took the photo, obviously for keeping some things secret and such, but
yes.
You can go on ahead and read the first
line. So what this
whatever.
is it's like it seems like it's the text or kind of dialogue that we're going to be getting by starting these quests. So that might mean that we are going to have NPCs in some rooms. So that's kind of the first hint to NPCs in a quest. But so we can see the first line is the warp wheel is in need, and I think that's an O at the end, so in need of something. So it means it's probably broken. We can see the engine room. There's all these wheels in the engine room. I think you have the engine room in your slide, don't you, Andy?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. So we can see the 3 hamster wheels. So they might be the warp wheels that we're talking about. We're not too sure.
I mean, could it be that room? I was like, what is the warp wheel? Because it seems like the engine room is the room to power it all. I don't know what what room that would be in.
Yeah, what previous rooms did he say again? I know you know them.
I know there's quite a few. Like cargo, security,
the sick bay, engine room, exterior.
I feel like there was a couple others.
I don't think there was anything to do with warp or whatever that even means. I know there's like deep space travel. I don't know what's that called. It's not warping, is it? When you're like going through space. It's kind of like teleporting, yeah. So maybe the warp wheel might be in the teleportation room, because I know there's actually going to be a teleport room mentioned. So yeah, that's what that might be.
That might be it then. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he does with that. Maybe the bridge room, because it's like a bridge to a different
Uh-huh.
area. But I don't know. We will see. And the next sort of few lines just sort of go into warp engines and the wheel some more. But a little bit below that, we have Hammy. So it sounds like we might have some non-playable characters, NPCs coming in.
Yeah, so Hammy is probably going to be some sort of NPC, probably wearing an Game spacesuit. I'd imagine he's probably going to be
Yes.
some commander or something, because we do see underneath there is an NPC or whatever called Science Officer. We can see that on the left column, and then the right column it says Report for Duty, Science Officer, possibly. So we do know that the red Games one is called the Science Officer, isn't it? I
The red
think
one is the security
the
officer,
sec
and the
is.
blue
Oh,
one's
okay.
science.
Okay, so then which one is the blue one? Is the Science Officer.
Yes.
So we can expect whoever is talking to us is probably wearing that blue one. I do want to just go up one again for the wheel. So this kind of does give us a little bit of details, though. It says for some reason the wheel, and then it says underneath it seems the wheel is not.
Ooh.
So I mean that kind of gives us quite a big hint of what this quest might be. It seems like it might be something to do with the wheels, which I might think are called the warp wheels, maybe. But it seems like these wheels, or one of them, might be broken in the engine room. I In the previous close up that we had, that Rocket Snail teased, on Twitter, there was like a diagram of the wheel on one of the computer screens beside it. One of the sections of this wheel was highlighted in red, which might be like an error message or something. So that might have been
Ooh.
him kind of teasing to one of the wheels breaking down or something.
Could be. And yeah, I'm not sure. um I mean, so we had a couple weeks ago, he was on the voice chat on Discord Critters, and he was talking about how the mini game was sort of related to the quest in terms of the space one, how like there was something wrong in the game or on the spaceship, and we had to fix it for the quest. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this is that or it's something distinct from the mini game he's working on, but I don't know. It's very exciting to see this type of like a conflict in a quest that's going to be coming soon.
Yeah.
And in terms of just like the text, obviously, Rocket Snail is more of the like the coder, I guess, but and he's talked about he's more of like the visual storyteller. This is
Yeah.
getting pretty deep already. So yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, like we can even see in one of the lines, um it says Harvey has left you in charge. So that means that we're already, and we have Hammy as well. So this means there's already two characters that have names. So these kind of might be the very beginnings of mascots. So we know Rocket Snail obviously is his own mascot as the snail, but it means that in Club Penguin you used to obviously have like Rockhopper, etc., Antarctic, Gary, all those guys. So maybe this is like the first time we're actually seeing kind of mascots in Box Critters, where we have Hammy and Harvey, these NPC characters that may play major roles in this quest and in like future quests to come as well, and the whole story and lore of Box Critters in general.
Yeah. And in terms of there's a lot of different things that we don't know here with obviously we don't see too much of the text, but a little bit or above that we have the word embryo and the experiment somehow, and there's a W, maybe like went wrong or something. I'm not sure by embryo. Maybe we find like some sort of alien species or something, and they were like testing on it. Do you have any ideas on that?
So my mic is just muted because I don't know if you can hear this ice cream
You're all
truck
good.
in the
You're all good.
background. I was like, this damn ice cream truck. It's not even sunny. Sorry, I was muting my mic so you wouldn't hear it. But yeah, this embryo is, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Yeah, maybe we're doing some tests on the like maybe the embryo might be an embryo from a lizard critter, because we do know the lizard critters might be kind of the aliens that have tried to abduct us or something. But yeah, I don't know, it kind of might be something like Alien, if you remember that film.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, so it kind of seems like there's definitely some type of storyline forming already, and it's kind of cool to see how he has kind of an emphasis on and focus on story driven quests that will create lore and storylines for the whole universe of Box Critter. So I'm kind of excited to see where it goes.
Oh yeah, and in terms of like the storyline, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I always enjoyed seeing the different planets that were made and such.
Yeah.
So I see below that he's talking about what a beautiful planet. So it's like, ooh,
Hmm.
we're going to be visiting probably a lot of different places just through the spaceship. So I wonder what kind of planet we'll be seeing. If it's like icy or hot or swampy, who knows?
Yeah. So I mean, this is the thing. When you have seasons in a battle pass or something, we were discussing membership in previous episodes, and we were talking about how memberships might be done. They might have different themes of what's happening to do with the storyline in the game. So I mean, that could be pretty cool if maybe, because we do know we're gonna have a pirate island, so the pirate island is obviously going to be on one planet. But then you know the way a lot of times films will like have different kind of stories between different characters. So it'll like
Yes.
have something will be happening to this character, and it'll kind of same within like novels. You'll be reading about a character for a few pages or a chapter or two. Then the next chapter is about a different character.
Oh, that switch, yeah.
So it's kind of cool that maybe it's something similar here, where you're gonna have quests and a storyline and plot in the pirate island, but then you'll also be having different types of storylines and plots over in kind of the space theme on the spaceship. So we might be, we might be getting different themes of different planets that we land to or that we adventure to, etc. So it's pretty cool. We don't there's a lot that can happen.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, he's not working on too many quests right now, I would assume. I feel like this would be like the initial one or
Yeah.
maybe initial few. But already it seems like there's a lot of different characters. Like we talked about Hammy and Harvey, but this is probably the most confusing line out of this little sneak peek where it says, kitties have mamas, and I have no clue what we could be getting at here. And then below that, rat folk. So it's like, what
Yeah.
is going on? No clue.
Yeah, so it says, what a beautiful planet. Whatever. The path you're on leads into. You've come across the plan, so I'm presuming that's going to finish off by saying planet. So maybe we're talking about some planet that we've seen, or like maybe my previous idea with the hamster wheel being broken, which is involved in the engine room. So maybe the engines have cut out, and we're not able to change location. We're not able to like move our thrusters to go back to our original destination. Maybe we're on a path, like maybe we're stuck on a path to a planet or a destination. So maybe this planet that we're talking about, which is the path we're leading to, is some weird a kitty planet or something, So maybe this planet is full of kitty critters, which he does say that critters are a new critter is going to come with this quest. So maybe that could lead to the fact that maybe we visit planets, and with each planet comes a new critter that we unlock.
That would be interesting if we do get some sort of cat critter someday. Obviously, he did say beaver is coming, but obviously, I think in past bulletins we've seen that he has been like cats are on the list and stuff. But just to right now visit like a cat planet or something, as it might look like, that could be interesting, especially with hamsters, which are sort of like little mice.
Yeah.
Which that might not turn out very well.
Yeah, and it's like the rat folk as well.
Yeah.
We see there, so that's kind of giving like each critter is kind of its own species, might have its own planet or its own area there. And then originally we thought it might be all critters are kind of sharing the same home. Maybe it's not the way they have the rat folk. It's like a different species of like a different alien. So maybe this is like a different I don't know, group of people that might be enemies to the hamsters or something. So already we see that there might be rat critters or something coming to the game as well.
Yes, and I think that would definitely be a cool aspect of box critters. Obviously, like Club Penguin, you had Herbert and such, but if there was like some sort of like rivalry between different critters and such, that could make a very interesting dynamic in terms of just the quests and also just like how we play as a whole.
Yeah. And I've actually just noticed something here as well with that line with the rat folk. You see the left there. I think that's normally about what line or who you're or what area you're in or what you're talking about or who you're talking to, because we see the very top. I think it says engine room, something to do with warp engines. But so then to the left of the rat folk, it says CK Bay. So I presume that's going to be the sick bay.
I think so. Yeah.
And it says the rat folk are hard to be around. So maybe the rat folk, we do know rats aren't like the tidiest of animals and carry a lot of diseases. So maybe it's like maybe the sick bay is going to be like infested with these rat critters that are all taking up all the sick beds or something. So it's kind of cool that there might be all these kind of jokes and memes, you can say, to do with like the storyline of box critters.
I think there will definitely be stuff like that. Just from already seeing here, there's a lot of life in just this. We see like one line says like me out of here, so probably like get me out of here or something. But there's just so much here to think about. Below we see like report to stations, a few days from orbit, and even zombies. Now the zombies is like what, but you look at some of the old games, Hamsters in Infinite Space art, and obviously it's not like there's some gore there, so that could definitely make an appearance in here as well.
So I mean, with the whole thing, we don't really know how in-depth these quests are going to be in terms of the storyline, but I mean, the thing is, a lot of the time storylines are kind of just written and then they're not really shown or kind of proven, if that makes sense. You kind of don't play through storylines, but we know Rocket Snail on Twitter said that he is loves to explain storylines through visuals. So one of the Dev Hollow on Twitter asked if if it was possible for box critters to have animated cutscenes. And Roxanne said that it was possible. So I mean, that's what I'm really excited for, because I know in Club Penguin Island, the way you did quests was kind of out in that open world, and you could kind of see people doing quests, and I liked that kind of thing, the way you'd gather items, etc. But I do also love the idea of quests being kind of like its own server. Like you might have like a matchmaking lobby. I know this is like really optimistic, but it would be cool to have like some type of lobby that you join up with your clan or your friends, and you have you have your own server when you're doing this quest, and the room is interactable by doing things rather than just talking to people and kind of collecting things. It would be cool to see animated cutscenes for when you complete something. Like, let's say we know that the hamster wheels aren't going to be working, so maybe like once you first that's what I think, once you first enter the engine room, there might be like a cutscene of one of the hamster wheels like breaking down and kind of the ship starting to fall and lose velocity, etc. So I don't know, I thought like the idea of animated cutscenes in the future could be really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, that type of just sort of scenery that's not necessarily in the game, but rather like just appearing on your screen. So like a lot of, I think of like Adventure Quest worlds, I think it would sort of come up like the text on your screen, and it would sort of show like a sprite of the person talking to you. Like that's very basic stuff, but it does get the message across, and you can change the appearance of how the person looks or their expressions. So whether it's animated or something like that, I think it's sort of like, I don't know, like optimistic to think like it'll all like be like animations in the game right now. I feel like that could be optimistic. So something like that I feel like we might see, and that makes me excited because I always sort of like that type of feel of a game.
Yeah, like one of my favorite styles of games are Telltale games, where you're kind of like everything is a cutscene, but then you kind of have a few options. Obviously, this isn't going to be the case because it's a virtual world, MMO kind of style. But it would be cool to have some sort of interactivity and options with during quests. Like we know with all the missions in Club Penguin, it was kind of the same. So that's how I'm feeling. The way the missions are kind of in a separate server, kind of on your own. It's not like out in the actual open world. So that's how I'd like to see quests kind of similar to that, where you might have to go up to this computer screen that I previously mentioned that may be showing an error message. Like it'd be cool to go up to the screen, and then you have like options to try fix this error or something like that, rather than it just being you collecting things and talking to people. If they're kind of like cutscenes and little other type of scenes where you have to interact with them to fix things, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, and with Telltale, I mean, you brought up like the interactions between them. So I think we could probably get that in Box Critters. Like the missions, I think you could like choose between different texts to say and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could probably make an appearance if you wanted to. And I mean, by the looks of this, it looks like you could probably, have different things to say if you wanted to go that route. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and then we see underneath it mentions flight training. So what do you think of What do you think that could mean?
Flight training. Ooh, that makes me excited. I think like we know we're gonna get like a pirate ship, so maybe this could just be referring to a future, some sort of future aspect of the game where we could get our own like spaceship to decorate or fly around or something. I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, so that's kind of an aspect of how these quests are going to work. Like, is it just dialogue that they tell us, oh, you're going to have to do flight training or whatever, or is it going to be where there actually is going to be some sort of mechanic that kind of guides us through how to fly a ship, so like go over to this control center, put in these press these buttons, and it's like a close-up of the desk where you're like clicking buttons or something with your mouse. We don't know how in-depth these quests are going to be and what it all means, but I mean, I'm just kind of excited for the fact that there is going to be this whole kind of dialogue. There is going to be some storyline with notable characters that we can remember and see in the future. So I don't know, I'm just really excited because we really don't have any details about quests at all. So I'm just excited to see like what the possibilities are for this.
Yes, and with flight training, maybe like some games, the main type of format of it, like I'm thinking of the Lego games, for example. Usually in the Lego games, you were just walking around with your Lego minifigure, but there was usually like one like flying game per like section of levels, and
Yeah.
like maybe it's just like some sort of like different type of version of Box Critters that will be playing for like maybe a flight training mission or something. Who knows? I mean, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, we really don't know. There's a lot of options, but do you want to move on to our next topic?
Well, we got some other tweets here as well.
Oh yeah, my bad. We talked about this, Andy. We talked about it. I messed up.
The one that gets me very interested is the bridge. So obviously we all know the bridge as a redesign, or like compared to the tavern, some different line textures and overall design. He did say on Twitter that he might redo the bridge. Let's experiment with a couple more rooms and then decide on a final line quality. So it's up for debate. I've seen people who like both rooms and who like one over the other, and I don't know.
I mean, the tavern is quite similar to the Club Penguin style, and the reason for that is because he knew the audience of this game, like the whole player base, is going to be at the very start. Right now, it's going to be players that played Club Penguin, really, because that's how they're in the community and know about Rocket Snail. So I mean, I can understand why he chose that style originally for the tavern. And then you have this kind of new style that he's brought in, which is a lot thinner lines. The shading is less distinct. The colors are slightly like more saturated, a bit less vibrant, I guess. But to be honest, with the close-up that he showed on Twitter, it's just a close-up of the engine room. It kind of means that this is a vector. Vector is like it doesn't get pixelated. It's all to do with maths. So it means you can really zoom into these backgrounds, and it still shows the detail. So I kind of really like how they look when it's really, really up close. I don't know how it looks when it's kind of far away, because with the thicker line, when it's far away, the lines are still kind of distinct. You can still kind of see what's going on, but it seems a little bit cluttered, or I don't know, a bit too detailed maybe when it's far away. But when you're up close, the lines are thicker, and it does hold that kind of style of very cartoony.
Yeah, and another aspect that I think sort of could go into account here is thinking of just the world itself. So the tavern, you have the thicker Club Penguin-esque lines that I feel like it's almost like in terms of just the design aspect of it's more cozy, and that goes with the tavern. So I'm curious if the bridge was more of a thicker line. It's a whole different style, but the thin lines do go very well with the the space theme, because it makes everything look very like perfectly in order, like sort of like sleek and stuff, like a spaceship should look like. So I don't know. Like, I guess I'd almost like to see what the spaceship would look like in that type of style, but also I'd like to see the tavern in the spaceship style, because I'm not sure how it would work either way. I don't know. Yeah,
it'd be nice to see kind of a mixture. If there's a nice balance between it, because I do really like this new kind of style when you're close up. When you're far, like I've already said, when you're far away, it's a bit different. But when like looking at the floor of the space engine, or the engine room, sorry, you can see like the reflections of the hamster wheel. Like that's a little bit more detail than what you got in Club Penguin. And with that style, the Club Penguin style is a lot more child friendly. It's a lot more cartoony-ish and softer. This is a bit more detailed, a bit more hard. But that's what kind of what Lance was saying, is he didn't get the chance to be a bit more, you know, experimental, a bit more gory per se in Club Penguin. So this is kind of his chance to add kind of things that are a little bit more a bit more violent or something, kind of, you know. So I mean, that kind of this whole style of it being a bit more raw, a bit more detailed, it kind of suits that idea of being a bit more gory or violent than Box Critters, you know.
Yeah, you're right, and I think it just depends on the more we see of different things, because we've only seen two completely finished rooms in that style.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not exactly sure. What was I gonna say here? Oh, I just lost it. um, I don't know. I think one other aspect might that could sort of like be swaying people's opinions is the background of just a, you know, a plain color.
Yeah.
Obviously, well, actually, I don't know. Obviously, like if there could be a background in the future and he just hasn't done that yet, or if this is it, because we've talked about it in the past how some like interiors of MMOs are just like a black background. That's a whole different feel than what we're used to in terms of Club Penguin. And
Yeah.
I don't know if like someday he would want to redo the tavern if it is going to be in this style to be not filling the whole screen. I think both are cool, but they are still very, very different from each other.
This is the thing, because with the tavern, it's just a flat background and there's no shape to it. It's like the whole room covers the screen. But with the bridge room and this engine that the engine room that we see, it's not like a flat image. There's depth to it. You can see the exterior of the room, and I actually do like this. But I keep going back to this close up, because this close up to me kind of shows a lot where you can zoom in. You know, the way we might have a scrolling type screen.
Right.
So the fact that we can zoom in this far and still have detail, I mean, maybe the rooms will actually, in general, they're meant to be more close up, and when you move, then it'll kind of scroll upwards or reveal the rest of the room. So maybe you're not supposed to see this kind of gray background at all. Maybe the background is supposed to be zoomed in more, and once you move, the background moves with it. Or maybe you might have the option to do both. If you scroll out, it'll zoom out and it'll show the whole room. Or if you scroll in, it'll zoom into where your mouse is pointed at. So we don't know.
Yeah, the scrolling thing is definitely very, very interesting, especially with this type of issue we're talking about. I feel like overall, although I feel like a lot of people might prefer the tavern over the spaceship design, I think the spaceship rooms might look better with that zoom in feature, because you have that more like, okay, here's a definite floor, here's a definite ceiling, more 3D rather than like that flat tavern image.
Yeah. So that's where I think, the ability of being more zoomed into this room, and then when you move the room, like I know with MMOs you can kind of drag, you can like use your mouse and if let's say League of Legends, you can drag the map around, and you can, even though your character may not be there, you can still focus on other parts. So if this was kind of the same, where you could drag and move around the engine room and focus on different aspects of the room, or different parts of the room, without your critter necessarily being there, I think it would make a lot more sense to have more detail like this.
Yeah, instead of just like the flat, because the flat, it's like you almost don't realize that you could like see more of the room on like a flat screen. I guess you sort of could, but I think with that type of idea that he has, the spaceship design could look better. But you could still do a tavern design with that type of like still 3D rooms. It just might not look, with the thicker lines, it might not look as sleek.
Yeah, so there's kind of two aspects to it then. Do people like the thicker line? It seems like people are kind of more upset about the line weight, which I don't know, it's a bit weird. Like, it's not much. Again, when you zoom in, the line becomes thicker, so maybe that's the plan, is to zoom in. But again, like it kind of, to me, it suits better of being able to navigate through the room rather than it being a flat image. Being able to navigate makes more sense when the room is this kind of shape and kind of has this dimension to it.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. I think overall, people are just sort of shocked to go from a very Club Penguin looking room
Yeah.
to a room that isn't really at all looking like Club Penguin. I
Hmm.
think he will find a happy medium that suits everybody.
Yeah.
But for right now, this is what we have, and it's cool to
Yeah.
see these different types of styles just sort of being tested out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is cool, and we'll see a lot more styles in the future because we do have more rooms coming. The engine room was supposed to be released, I think, this week, but that ended up being pushed back because he said on Twitter he's deciding to hold off adding the engine room, as he wants to focus more on mini games and the whole questing system. And then he said more rooms are going to be added when more mini games are added or quests. We don't really know if they're going to be separate things yet, but so rooms are gonna work kind of like items for these experiments anyway. So maybe, of course, it takes more effort to make a room than make an item, but we could possibly expect to see like a new room every 3 weeks or so, maybe once experiment 4 starts.
Yes, I think overall it's down to the questing things like the critters. We thought we were getting a beaver critter a while back, but he has said that we'll earn the critter once the quest system
Yeah.
comes,
Uh-huh.
and so that's the main thing we're working on right now, or what Rocket Snail is working on that we'll be seeing in the future. And I feel like it's probably coming together pretty well. He did say right now mini games are a little too buggy, and the quest system is just loops. So
Yeah.
loops, I guess, just redoing the same
Mm-hmm.
quest, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where, I mean, my whole idea of kind of like a Telltale game or like the Club Penguin mission, the whole point of it looping doesn't make sense for that. So looping, the fact that it loops is kind of like that kind of maybe hints towards it being these events occur in the open world, even if you're not doing these quests. These events will still occur if you're just chatting to your friend while you're present in the room. So maybe if you've like completed this quest, it's supposed to trigger something that these events don't occur anymore, that you don't see them on your screen. But maybe even if you've completed it, these events will still occur, like an NPC maybe calling for help at the other side of the room. Maybe even if you've completed this quest, it'll loop back over and then the NPC will start calling, asking for help again, even though you've already done the quest. So maybe that's what he means about looping.
That could be it. Like, I guess with the loop thing, it sort of made me think like, okay, like, because there's not like many quests right now being so early, so
Yeah.
he might just need to figure out like a way to end it once we finish it. I
Uh-huh.
don't know, but we'll have to see. I'm hoping that we do see at least a new room maybe next week or something. But I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah, once he gets this quest system kind of figured out, I think that's when the engine room will be released with this quest. I think we don't know, but that's what I'm guessing on anyway.
Okay, gotcha. I hope so. That'd be a very cool update all together at once. But we do have really just one more topic today, really.
Yeah, we rambled on a
And
lot for the
we
quest.
have a lot of time, but that's all good. It's good. There's a lot to talk about with these,
Yeah.
quests and designs and stuff. But now we have items, and we have quite a few since last time.
Yeah, so I don't know which one to pick at. The first one I'm looking at anyway is the different color of the spacesuit. That kind of looks like it's orange, but it looks quite similar to the brown one that we previously discussed in other episodes of the kind of the commander that was controlling the ship. There was a concept art of hamsters in infinite space, and one of the hamsters was sitting on it like a control desk, wearing a brownish kind of tingy color. This kind of looks more similar, so maybe this is the version of the brown suit that we'll be getting in
I
box
think
critters.
so. Yeah, and what do you think the role for this type of critter wearing this could be? Because we did think the engineer could be in like the gray or black one last time, but that is the commander one. So
Yeah,
this could be engineer or cargo, or
yeah. It to
I
be
don't know.
honest, it kind of makes sense to be the engineer version. I mean, if you look at the item to the left of that, it's the like a high vis kind of builder's overall, and that kind of has the same color scheme as the suit that we see on the right. So it might be kind of like the engineer suit. It would make sense to me anyway for the engineer version of the suit to be kind of orange like this.
That would be nice. I think that could be a very nice touch. Both of these items are really cool, and of course the construction outfit goes very well with the construction hard hat. A very nice
Mm-hmm.
nice look there, nice and shiny.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a kind of a quite random, to be honest. But maybe we don't know. Maybe it might have something to do with the quest, because we know we're gonna have to fix something. Something's gonna be broken that we have to fix it. So maybe it's just mere coincidence that we have a hard hat in coming in game. But maybe the hard hat might be for the quest. We don't know.
Could be, yeah. And we've got 2 different pirate hats as well, which, so we saw the bandana originally in a different color and sort of a different texture. It was blue with a green bead, but now it's red and sort of striped and with a yellow bead. I personally really like this one. It gives me more the Club Penguin vibes, because the Club Penguin one was red. What do you think, Juke?
Yeah, I really like this. I'll probably be rocking this one in game once it comes out. Yeah, I really like it. It's in Club Penguin it's just the plain red, so of course it didn't want to be a complete mimic of that. But this is, I actually kind of prefer this one with the little striped texture on it. It's really cool.
It's a nice touch, isn't it? And it will look very good with your eye patch.
Ooh, my eye patch, yeah. If you guys don't know the code for the eye patch, go to my channel, check it out. And then we have the sorry, you go on ahead.
Oh no, it's just the other pirate hat's like a captain with some bones and whipped cream on top. I cannot see it without. I cannot not think of whipped cream when I see that item. I love it, but it is fantastic.
It's supposed to be a feather, right?
Desert island or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a feather, isn't it? I'm pretty sure
it is. I think it's like a bunch of fluffy feathers, but I cannot see
a bit of whipped cream. That's hilarious. That might have to be changed now. But no, I really this is kind of cool. It's weird the way he's adding another pirate hat into the game files, because we still haven't even got the previous one in the game files, the black one with the skull and bones. That hasn't even been added.
There was like 3, I think.
So we don't even have the code for that. So maybe, I don't know, maybe because we know his other team was working on a pirate island and that was delayed. And I gave away the eye patch, so I was speaking to him and personally, and I was just asking, do you want me to wait to release the eye patch, because we're kind of going with the theme of space at the moment? And he was like, no, go for it. I mean, the theme is whatever you guys want it to be. Yeah, the quest is obviously going to be in space, but you can be a space pirate hamster if you want. It doesn't matter. These are all kind of just for your own ideas. But yeah, so I don't know, maybe he asked Papa D to make loads of pirate items in beforehand, because he was planning on getting the pirate island out beforehand. But yeah, it's cool. It seems the main themes that we're getting right now are pirates and space, but there is a new theme coming. We can see in a new outfit, if you want to talk about that as well, Andy.
That's right, and it is summer themed, which this sort of summer Hawaiian shirt, mostly orange with some yellow and blue flowers, so nice. Like probably my favorite item that we've seen in a while here. I love the color orange. It is my favorite color. This was a great item batch for orange. I mean, it is everywhere. We got 3 body items of orange. But yeah, I love it. I mean, you can imagine just with the snorkel and the duck outfit or the duck belt.
Yeah, because you can actually wear the duck outfit with this now.
Yes, so nice that you can have that double look there, and the glasses too. Man, great items coming out. Yeah,
so this Hawaiian shirt actually reminds me a lot of the one on Club Penguin, which it was a plain green one, and it had the white kind of flowers on them. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember that one?
Definitely, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was the same, pretty much the same kind of vibe. There were no buttons on the one in Club Penguin.
Okay.
But yeah, so this. I really like this body item. This is kind of not the most detailed, because we do have that newspaper hat, but it has the kind of most, I don't know, smaller details in it than kind of any other item. There's like a lot going on, a lot of colors.
Yeah, it's a very nice change of pace. I mean, I do love the items that aren't so detailed either, but it's cool to have a mix of things like this. And I sort of feel like with so we'll have the ducks, the snorkel, all that kind of summery stuff. It would be so cool if we could have like a little bit of decorations in the tavern, or once the tavern opens, like outside the pirate island. Like, I always remember the water party in Club Penguin 2007 and 2008. You had like the big elephant in the dojo one year, a big octopus, there's just so many like cool things with water everywhere. One of my favorite parties for sure, and I think that would be cool to bring some sort of like decorations like that for maybe a week, if you like
Yeah.
maybe threw out a bunch of summer items at once, that would be
Uh-huh.
amazing.
Yeah, because I mean, with Easter we had that kind of Easter egg hunt, which was cool. We got those Easter items, but there was no kind of decorations or whatever. We do know it. You know, later on in Box Critters we'll have a box that comes every week, and maybe with parties or whatever, these decorations will come from the box. But this mechanic isn't exactly in Box Critters yet, so we're still very very early on. But it'd be nice, yeah, to kick off summer. You know, we're getting some summer items, but wouldn't be cool to see some kind of, I don't know, some decorations like you said around even the spaceship or something in the bridge. I don't know. It'd be kind of funny to have like random floral summery kind of, I don't know, like designs going around, and like Hawaiian, you know, palm trees or whatever set up, like it like floaty, like you know, inflatable palm
Even the
trees or
bridge,
whatever
too,
sitting on them.
and the
Yeah.
water would just be floating everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, with the theme of summer, we can kind of know we can kind of maybe expect to see some other items like so one of the guys on Twitter mentioned a surfboard, and Rocket Snow said that it was a good idea, so maybe we might see a surfboard coming. Another guy said, sorry I don't have your usernames, but another guy also suggested the Hawaiian red lei, and we used to have that in Club Penguin. That was like one of the most sought after items, and he
Very
said that
classic.
he
Yes.
added that to his list, so I'm excited for that if that ever
The
comes.
lei, oh, that would look great with that outfit.
Yeah.
And even the yellow cap that we've seen this week, that would look good. It would, you know, pick up the flowers on the shirt. But really, the main items of the hour, of course, are the blue and pink propeller caps, which are just the most beautiful things we've ever seen beyond the red propeller cap. Juke, what are your thoughts?
Is it a mere coincidence that the blue propeller cap and the pink propeller cap appears in the game files like a week after, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 days after the podcast of us asking for them? I don't think so. You can give us all the credit. We basically have made them ourselves. Pappy D, you didn't admit. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, these look so nice. I like the way the pink propeller cap actually has the pink propellers rather than the yellow ones. So this is
nice
kind of unique. I really like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very. I hope we see that item soon, and of course, the blue one looks fantastic. You can't really see it too much, but it is similar to how Club Penguin, the white on the blue is actually a little bit of a blue tint.
Yes,
very light, but it's a nice, you know, nice to have that a little bit of a difference in compared to the red one and the pink one. Yeah.
Now you've just made my eyes go crazy. I'm kind of thinking it is the white on the pink one, I think, is slightly pink as well. But I think maybe I'm just going crazy.
I'm pretty sure they're all like a little bit different, all three of those. But of course, the blue propeller cap is right now going on in a contest for you guys to try to win it early through on my channel Box Critters Bulletin. It's like an art contest. The poll, or not, the contest is done Tuesday, the 11th, and I will be choosing winners for people to sort of win the blue propeller cap a week early, just sort of have a rare item and all that before I release it to everybody on June 18th. So just a little fun thing going on here.
So make sure you guys check that video out, and if you guys do enjoy art, there is a chance that you may be getting an item for doing a bit of artwork. So make sure to check that video out, guys, and give it a go if you guys want to.
It's fun stuff going on, and overall, just so many cool items being added. You know, like we said, there's not much news, but it's cool that we every week. I mean, we got quite a few items here, like 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, I think, items new that we haven't seen yet. So, or 8. So awesome stuff that we still get these kind of updates.
Yeah, and like, I mean, I'm kind of looking at items like which item is going to be the most popular, you know, thinking about it, and which item in, because I'm thinking of, when I think of Box Critters, you know, I have big hopes for the future, and I hope it does really well. So I'm kind of thinking like which item is going to be like the one that everyone wants. And we do know, like, I found out on Twitter that Lance said we have, whoever has the red Viking helmet right now is going to keep it. But it's always going to be available. So I think the red Viking helmet is going to be like your starter item. So I remember you got like a red cap or something in Club Penguin, in the later stages of Club Penguin, the very later stages of Club Penguin. I think was it a red cap?
It may have been blue.
I mean,
a blue cap and a background.
Yeah, like it was way after when I started. So yeah, I think that's what that's what the Viking helmet is going to be for box critters anyway, which I really like because the Viking helmet is like the icon kind of item for rockets now. So
Oh yeah, it's good, and that also brings up. I wonder which items will be rare. I mean,
yeah,
he has said these are coming. I guess coming back, but in terms of once the game's launched, or I guess he said some are coming back. Once the
yes.
game's launched, some will be back, but I wonder like how much they will be back, how rare they'll be.
Mm. I mean, it's not a massive deal for me anymore. You know, I'm
Yeah.
older, so rarity on a virtual world isn't like my main
Yes,
isn't my biggest concerns anymore. I just want to have friends. I just want to have fun with friends on the
that's
game,
right,
etc. But
for
we do know
sure.
that a lot of this is like a lot of people. That's kind of what they really do care about is rarity with items. There actually
Really?
may be an in-game rarity that Lance mentioned. I think he
Oh
mentioned in
yeah.
that Discord voice call that we had about 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah, I do wonder how that will be implemented and at what point. I guess once quests, start being added down the line, you'll get, rarer and rarer quests as you progress through harder quests and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that'll be cool too.
Yeah, and I wonder if quests are always going to be available because if you complete one quest and maybe let's say I know there hasn't been confirmation of seasons or anything like that, but maybe we don't know. Maybe if like new quests come out, we move to a new planet or something, and now there's new quests for that planet. Will the rewards
Mhm.
for the previous quests, will you still be able to do the previous quests and in turn be able to get those rewards? So maybe that might be how rarity works is by having rewards from quests that are no longer available. We don't really know how rarity is going to work. I'm kind of excited to see how it works.
I'm
For sure.
excited. There's a lot of different concepts to look
Yes.
forward to. Whether it's just items alone or quest, there's just whether no matter what you really like, there's going to be something to look forward to. I feel like.
Yeah. And I think,
So yeah.
the news over the past, news and, just overall progress that we see, there's been a lot of progress behind the scenes, but in general, it's been quite slow kind of over the past 2.5, 2 weeks. But I'm sure over the next 2 weeks coming, once that happens, progress is going to speed up for us. I think once the first quest kind of gets pumped out, once the first room the new room, the engine room comes, I think once that happens, like once you get to the core mechanics of things down, it'll be easier to kind of create new versions of them, etc. So I think that's when things will start speeding up for sure. So we can definitely look forward to that anyway.
That's right. The first in these types of things always seem to be the hardest, and then
Yeah.
once you get a hang of it, so yes, I think we're just obviously we don't have much because it seems like big things are happening, with quests and stuff. So
Yeah, quite like the
I think
system
that
is
is a very good
massive.
thing.
Like the
Oh
questing
yeah,
system is huge. It's
huge.
huge.
Yes, absolutely. Compared to just an item, once you get one
Yeah,
item, that's yeah.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think there's a lot of cool stuff that we'll be seeing.
for sure.
Yeah,
And so I think that's going to be everything in this. I think we've covered pretty much everything in
I
this
think
podcast.
so.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you all so much for listening once again. It's just been a great time. We're on episode 5 already. It's always cool just to finish the week. Talk to my buddy Juke.
Aw.
It's good, guys. And we thank you all for listening, subscribing to both of our channels. And yeah, guys, we will see you in the next Box Critters cast.
See you later, guys.
Have a good one.